So are you gonna send 12 million of them back?
How do you
so
do
they can
that?
come here?
How do
Yeah,
you do
well, that's
that?
what I'm asking.
I mean, you can't.
How are you gonna
Here's
do
the
that?
problem.
That's what you're
States
saying.
have done that. No, what I'm saying is that we've got to plug the hole in the ship. And then it's almost like saying, to me, we're trying to figure out, we're trying to work in the middle of the story instead of fixing the problem at the root of the
But the
story.
question was, what are you gonna do with those that are already here? Not what are you gonna do with those in the
Okay,
future?
so Alabama has tried something where they said, we're going to track everybody when they come into the schools, right? We're going to track everybody. You know what happened? Half the student body didn't show up. That's what happened there. We get Arizona that's trying to do everything they can. I'm focused on a federal level, getting federal government to do what it's supposed to do on the border. Then states, at that point, what I'm trying to tell you is we have access to our state legislators. So if we pull federal government out of all of the things that are magnets here, then states can start making decisions as to what to do with the people that are within their states. I'm trying to at least plug the hole in the boat and then give more decision-making back to the people that are in the states.
That makes sense. And I've spent really 40 years working with immigrants. We have federal laws. For example, I was teaching at a community college, teaching ESL, and students who came with a visa had to pay for the English programs. Those who were there illegally got the program for free. And you see that across the board. That's a ridiculous thing, that if you're there legally, you pay, and if you're breaking the law, it's free.
And they're not paying taxes or social security, they're not paying workers' compensation, so they're getting away with the benefits, but not.
We will always get more of what we incentivize. We will always get more of it. So again, on a federal level, I'm trying to tell you what we deal with on a federal level. And on a federal level, the items that I told you are the things that will help greatly to reduce the problems, and at least the states will be able to have some way. It's manageable there.
But when you go to Congress, and I'm actually a delegate on the other side, so I'm cheating by being here.
Oh, it's okay.
But I'm a fan, so that's why I'm here. But when you go to Congress, remember, the fence is dumb, but they've got to get those border points controlled, and they're not now. They are totally, like, at any given hour, you can find somebody there who will let somebody through illegally.
And they know.
I just wanted to see if I could clarify something. You talked about the bond when you cross the border. Is that sort of relative to a guest worker visa that they can come in, work, and then leave again? Is that what that would relate to? Or?
Well, it's within the allocated visas that we have. So right now, it's with every visa that we have. So it's not creating any more visas. It's all of the visas that we have, whether it's a visiting or whether it's a worker's visa, whatever that visa that we have that we give. That's a way of actually, I'm just trying to track who's leaving.
Would you be in favor of increasing the number of those visas? Or
You know, I think, no, I support Jason Chaffetz's plan in terms of, again, we have a certain amount of visas that come in. China, for instance, maxes out very quickly. India maxes out very quickly. And so there's nobody, once they max out, and they max out very early, nobody can come in where places like Ireland never max out, or other places that come in never max out. And he's saying we should be able to open up some of those that never maxed out to those. So I support that, but I don't think we need to increase the amount right now. I'm trying to sustain a problem.
And then also those illegal immigrants that are already here in the country, would they be able to apply for those while in the country, or would you have them leave before applying for those?
Now, again, if you came here legally, then I think that we should do everything we can to work with those who are here legally, who want to contribute and pay taxes, who want to be part of this society and learn the English language like my parents did, learn about the history, learn about things so that they could be part of the American society. But in terms of, people who haven't come here legally, we can't put them in the front of the line behind, in front of people they'd have to get behind all of the people that were here, that came here through the front door.
I've been paying attention to the Obama Supreme Court case in the last couple of days. It looks like, if you read the writings, that it might be invalidated as Obamacare. the Democrats are taking, I guess, some kind of, we expected this to happen. This is going to be a boom for the Democrats. What's going to happen in Congress next year? If Obamacare does get eliminated, is there going to be a push to get something else? And if so,
What should it look like?
What should it look like?
Okay, Affordable Care Act. It is, again, the one-size-fit-all federal solution to health care. What it should look like, something that looks a little bit more like the free market, is what healthcare should look like. We have to understand, I don't think people can really appreciate how much trouble we're in when it comes to healthcare. What we've done is we've said, we've put 90% of effort into accessibility and 10% into cost. I would actually not even say 10% into worrying about what the cost is, instead of putting 90% of effort into what the cost is going to be and then figuring out what the access should be. Here's the problem with healthcare, and then I'll go to what we should do about it. Healthcare, there is no way of figuring out how much it actually costs. Does anybody know how much healthcare actually costs?
Lots.
Lots, that's all you know is lots, right? But we don't even really know what the cost of healthcare is. Right now, we're in a fee-for-service type of payment instead of a fee-for-outcome. Okay, so there's no connection between. There's no way of figuring out how much it costs. There's no connection between the supply and demand when it comes to healthcare. There's no accountability between the doctors and the patients that get free healthcare. Example: I went and I'm a runner, and I went to have my knees checked. And when I went to the doctor to have my knees checked, he poked around a little bit and he said, well, let's go get an MRI because I can't see what's going on. So I go and I get an MRI, and I come back and he looks at the film and he says, Mia, it looks like there's a lot of swelling there, go take some ibuprofen. Come back in a month, we'll take another MRI to see if the swelling's gone down, and then we'll see if there's another problem there. But here I come home and I take my ibuprofen, and then I get this nice bill. And my portion of the bill is $1,000. That's the portion I have to actually write out and send away to the doctor. Do you think I'm going back? No. Now imagine if that's a Medicaid patient. Never saw a bill. There's no incentive to figure out whether you should go back or not, or disincentives to figure out whether you should go back or not. See again, when you've got a hospital, this is what hospitals do. When they get a big piece of equipment, what is their and state of the art, what is their objective? They want to use it. They have to pay for it. So all they do is they send people through, and it's a fee for service, not a fee for outcome. Now, if we're moving more towards a free market type solution of healthcare, this is what this story looks like. My son falls over, cuts open his lip. I know he needs stitches. What's your name? Ed. Can I pick on you for a second? Ed's got this clinic. It's not the best clinic in the world. I mean, he kind of does a hack job. He's known of not doing the greatest job, but he's really cheap, right? I know if I go to Ed's, Ed is going to charge me $30 to sew up my son's lip. But it's okay because it's my son and scars are cool, right? Okay.
If it was a daughter, we could go to another.
Now, what's your name? Diana. Now my daughter falls and has the same injury. Diana's clinic is a little. I mean, it's not. She's got aromatherapy. She's got the best plastic surgeons and the best equipment, right? But I know when she does a good job, when she does a great job, and you're not going to see a thing. She costs $300. I might want to go to Diana instead. That's what it should look like. And then we get to pick what fits us. Right now, you realize we can't even have that conversation because federal government is mandating what a private sector can put into their insurance policy or their insurance benefits. It used to be that employers used to use healthcare to entice people to come in and work for them. We've gotten away from that. So what we have to do, again, we get away from the one-size-fits-all federal government and give the states their levers that they use, their 3 levers that they use to try and control the cost of health care. 2 of which have pretty much been taken away by federal government. There's 3 levers. One is who's eligible for that type of health care when it comes to Medicare and Medicaid, right? They can say who's eligible, so the states don't even have that. Two, the other lever is the rates that they offer to doctors when they treat patients. And if you go too low, the doctors say, well, I'm not treating that patient, there's no way that's happening. And the other lever is the benefits that's offered, which again, federal government mandates a lot of that, what type of benefits that are up. So much so now we're even mandating that the private sector, or trying to mandate that the private sector offer contraceptives to a private sector. Does that make sense? If we can get those levers back, then it's manageable here. Two, we've got to make sure that we put the accountability back in the, or the power back in the hands of the doctors and the patients, and we've got to hold them accountable. We've got to start deciding, or at least having a way of deciding whether this fee is worth it to me, or whether I can handle this at home, or whether, yes, this is worth it to me. And then another issue is tort reform. That's a big issue. That drives up the cost. Medical malpractice suits. That is the short version of the 3-hour version of healthcare issues. But you realize that healthcare, the cost of healthcare doubles every 4 years. Remember I talked about the 3 highest things we pay for? Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. Imagine that chunk, 4 years, doubling. We're in big trouble. It's not just $16 trillion of debt. You guys realize this, right? It's not just $16 trillion of debt. That's our realized debt. Never forget about the obligations we actually will owe in the future, what we made promises to pay. Pensions, unrealized debt, all of those things, we're way beyond $16 trillion. It's no wonder why we've lost our ability to borrow money. We shouldn't borrow money anymore. We shouldn't be able to.
Do you believe it should come back to the states and not even have a federal health care then?
I think that we could do a better job. I think when states
I think so
compete,
too.
I think when states compete, quality goes up,
Don't
cost
even have
goes
the federal
down.
government
Insurance
involved.
companies should be able to compete across state lines. I mean, there are several things that we can do. Yes. Yes.
Mia, so many issues that we have with our federal government. When we get back to
Makes you
Washington,
want to